Hello, my dear friend. Oh, don't mind that honking sound. There's a bit of traffic outside today. Funny thing is, it reminds me of a certain Friday, not too long ago, when I decided to visit an old friend of mine. Not my very best friend, not like Orville Elephant, no. But rather the kind of friend you're curious about, someone you want to know better. His name was Eric Penguin. Now let me take you back a little bit into the school days. Orville and I had been inseparable for years. We shared countless afternoons together, wandering about, talking endlessly about everything and nothing. Then, sometime in the later school years, Eric Penguin appeared. He was a kind fellow, gentle, even a little uncertain at first. Not clumsy, exactly, but the sort of soul who pauses before stepping forward. And yet, there was something about him, a quiet charisma, a warmth. You know, it's always interesting how friendships form. Some take years. Others seem to spark in an instant. With Eric, it was somewhere in between. At first he was reserved, but conversations grew. Sometimes one of us would give more, sometimes the other. Soon we three, Orville, Eric, and myself, had a rhythm, almost like a science project that simply worked. Anyway, years went on, and as school ended, the meetings grew less frequent. We exchanged messages, the occasional letter, even a call now and then. That's the way of life, isn't it? Friendships bend, but the memory of their beginning stays clear. And so, fast forward, a Friday, just recently. 2 days before, it was Eric who said to me, "Hey, let's meet sometime soon." I agreed, of course, and when I asked if he meant really soon, he replied instantly, without hesitation, "Yes, right away." No long talk about time or place. I was the one who had to fix the details. The day before, I even called again, just to be sure. He laughed and said, "Of course it's happening. It'll be fun." So, Friday morning, I packed lightly. Nothing much, but my head was filled with thoughts. I set off in my car, following the map toward the main square of his town. Driving down the city streets, then onto the highway, I thought about how the meeting would go. I wasn't nervous, not as much as I usually am. I told myself it'll be fine, just enjoy it. Halfway there, I noticed a car pulling up beside me. The driver leaned out and shouted, "Hey, that's a fine hat you're wearing." I had to laugh. For a moment, I'd forgotten where I'd gotten it. "Ah, yes, it was a gift," I shouted back. He smiled, said it suited me, and drove off with a wave. Imagine that, a stranger, with no reason at all, simply offering kindness. I thought maybe I should carry that same spirit into my meeting with Eric. Anyway, I reached the town. Not a great big city, but busy enough, alive with people. I parked, and soon I found Eric waiting. He greeted me with a smile and said he had errands to run for his family, so off we went together. First, he invited me to his house. I was curious. He was younger than me, and I asked, "Do you live alone already?" He shook his head, saying, "No, but today no one's around." That struck me. In my family, there was always someone home. Always chaos, always noise. His house surprised me, larger than mine had ever been, neat, well kept, even a room just for coats and shoes, a walk-in wardrobe. I wasn't jealous, only amazed and happy for him. His own room reflected him perfectly. We talked about music, discovering we liked the same sounds, the same frequencies even. I said, "Isn't it curious how some vibrations feel good to us and the very same to another? That kind of harmony feels rare." Still, our talk stayed light. Nothing too deep, nothing too personal. That's all right, though. With closest friends, you share every thought. With others, you share just enough. And that can be fine too. Later, we went to the shop, browsed a little, picked up some snacks. Eric reached for a bottle, and without thinking, I picked the same one. Same taste again. Though he did grab some sweets, I found a bit too unhealthy. But then, none of us are perfect, are we? As we walked toward the checkout, I heard it. The beeping of the registers, the shuffle of bags, the conveyor belts. Into the sweets, I thought. I'd forgotten a gift for Eric. So I hurried back into the aisles, asked quickly where to find them, and grabbed some sweets. By the time I returned, Eric was waiting at the till. He looked curious. Who would pay? Of course I paid. And when I handed him the sweets, he asked a little eagerly, "Are those for me?" I smiled. "Yes, of course. That's why I bought them." Small gestures, you see. They matter. He was delighted. Afterwards, we stopped by the post office. Eric wanted to send a letter to his sister, check on a parcel, perhaps. Then, back at his home again. I noticed something then. In his corridor, aside from a guitar and a basketball, there wasn't much that spoke of hobbies or priorities. He cared for his looks. That much was clear. Penguins, you know, have a certain advantage there. I even wondered, do penguins in the Antarctic compete with each other? Who's the finest looking among them? Or do they live at opposite poles? Well, I don't know enough about that. Anyway, we spent 2 or 3 hours together, some of it lively, some of it quieter. Eric spent much of the time at his computer, not doing much at all. I suggested going out again, but he politely declined, saying we'd already seen what there was to see. Not harsh, never rude, just gentle, soft. Eventually, it was time to leave. I wondered where I'd parked, but he kindly showed me the way back. We exchanged a friendly hug, and I drove off. On the highway home, I asked myself, how did I feel about it all? I couldn't answer right away. Perhaps I was too busy thinking, letting it all settle. I knew this. In small moments, in short times, Eric and I connected well. Over longer stretches, maybe less so. But that's all right. Maybe I'm too critical. Maybe I expect too much. Still, I found it interesting. Beautiful even. A day worth remembering. And when I reflect on it, I realize something. A person's outward charm, their bright appearance, doesn't always reflect what lies within. It's important not to be blinded by the surface. A stone may glitter in the sunlight, but only when you hold it in your hand do you know if it's truly a gem.